Hey, it's your old pal Lucid Stu again. We are heading to Merced, California to check out the California high-speed rail route. From there to San Francisco, this time with an emphasis on the Santa Clara Valley portion from Gilroy to San Francisco. We'll start where we left off last time in Merced at the planned station site between 15th and 16th Streets. If you haven't seen it, check out the first video in this series, which covers Bakersfield to Merced and everything happening with construction currently. Now in Merced on 15th Street heading southeast, the Merced station will be located here on Viaduct, and that will extend through downtown all the way to the State Route 99 freeway, so everything on the left side of your screen must go. After moving under the freeway, the route makes its way out of Merced parallel to Union Pacific tracks along Calon Road. That will continue for 5 miles until reaching LeGrand Road. In the vicinity of the LeGrand and State Route 99 interchange, the route will curve south. Then the route will parallel Road 11 for a bit before entering the Central Valley Y. This is a T intersection that will let southbound trains curve east or west, westbound trains curve north or south, you get the picture. 1/3 of the Y will be built to reach Merced from Fresno. The rest will be built when attempting to connect the Central Valley with the Santa Clara Valley. Let's do a quick geography lesson so you know where we're going. The Central Valley is vast, about 400 miles south to north, up to 85 miles wide, and makes up a good portion of the state. The Santa Clara Valley is comparatively tiny, about 40 miles long and quite narrow in parts. The northern part is often referred to as Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley isn't a label on the map, but it is a real place around San Jose and a little bit north where several enormous tech companies are headquartered. Back to the Central Valley Y, the curve from north to the east will leave Road 11 and meet up with State Route 152 a little east of State Route 59 here. That is the eastern extent of the Central Valley Y. The latter 2/3 of that will cost about $2.2 billion to construct. After this intersection, the California high-speed rail right-of-way will curve north a little bit, whereas the highway curves south. After crossing the San Joaquin River, California high-speed rail will meet up with Henry Miller Road and follow that into the Santanella area. There are a lot of wildlife and nature preserves in this area, including the Los Baños Wildlife Area, which we are driving through currently. To accommodate these, California high-speed rail will be on Viaduct and covered with a shed for a couple of miles through this area. There will be a fair amount of viaduct in this area, although the purpose of all of it isn't immediately clear. That puts us in the area of Los Baños, a growing city of 45,000. Los Baños has the pleasure of being the only city in the state that has expressly forbade a California high-speed rail station by law. What did Los Baños do that's so bad other than name their city the Bathrooms? Ask Fresno area politicians. After curving north from there to line up the approach through the mountains, the route will cross over Interstate 5 about 50 feet up here, over the Whitworth overcrossing just north of Santanella. From there, the route will head into the mountains in this general direction just north of McCabe Road here. I wanted to get some drone footage of the area, but a large, vicious cliff swallow population was about. At this point, the route will enter a 13-mile tunnel to traverse the Diablo Range in the vicinity of Pacheco Pass and to avoid the San Luis Reservoir. It will do that a mile north of State Route 152 here. The eastern tunnel portal is located here next to State Route 152 and Pacheco Creek. You may have seen this California High-Speed Rail Authority 3D rendering. That's where this is. The route then heads southwest through this little valley toward Casa de Fruta 4 miles away. That is where the route will cross State Route 152 and head through this hill in a 1.5 mile long tunnel. The train will emerge from that into the Santa Clara Valley and actually pass over State Route 152 again. The route then enters a large curve toward the northwest, which will enable it to enter Gilroy from the south. This is looking back toward the shorter tunnel from Bloomfield Avenue near US 101. The route will be elevated through here on a combination of viaduct and embankment. I picked Bloomfield because it's the location of a future light maintenance facility. That would be located in the foreground area. Tracks will cross over the Union Pacific right-of-way at this nursery and then head into Gilroy on the west side of UP tracks. We'll go to Gilroy next, taking flight at the Gilroy train station. Looking south from the station, both sets of tracks are going to cross 10th Street here at grade. You high-speed rail purists might want to look away because this means a 110 mph speed limit all the way from here to San Francisco, which is about 75 miles. Gilroy brings up the subject of this Southwest high-speed rail concept that the California High-Speed Rail Authority has floated lately. That would be another intermediate phase of Phase 1, this time from Gilroy to Palmdale. The idea would be to hook up with Caltrain in Gilroy and Brightline West in Palmdale to connect San Francisco and Las Vegas. New CEO Ian Chowdhury is under the impression that this concept would attract enough private investment to get that Gilroy to Palmdale section built by 2045. I'm going to make a whole video about it soon, so keep an eye out. Looking north from the Gilroy station, Old Gilroy Road immediately north would be closed. However, most at-grade crossings between Gilroy and San Francisco will remain in place. There will be about 40 total, hence the 110 mph speed limit the entire way. The plan for those at-grade crossings is to protect them with quad gates. That is a setup where gates come down on both sides in both directions to better keep vehicles from trying to go through while gates are down. The plan at the Gilroy station is for 4 tracks to be used by Caltrain and California High-Speed Rail. 2 more tracks will go around to the east for freight. More or less the way it's configured now. North of the station there will be 3 tracks. 2 of those will be shared by Caltrain and California High-Speed Rail. The other is for Union Pacific. This row of buildings will be removed to accommodate the new 3rd track. That configuration will remain in place into San Jose. In most places there is room for a 3rd track and geometry will support the speed, so takings of property should be minimal considering the distance. A significant amount of the way, the route runs next to Monterey Road, which is 4 to 6 lanes nearly all the way to downtown San Jose. That is more rural in spots like the San Martin area where the tracks run on the east side of the road. The 2 separate on the north end of San Martin and stay that way through most of Morgan Hill 2 miles to the north. The 3-track arrangement occasionally gets a little more complicated in spots like at the Morgan Hill station where the freight track will have to go around the station to the east, consuming part of the current parking lot. Morgan Hill may be a glimpse into Gilroy's future with some medium-density mixed-use development around the Caltrain station. Proximity between train stations and downtowns is similar, but Gilroy is actually a little more walkable. Gilroy is putting together a station area plan right now, but it's running late. Just north of the Morgan Hill station, tracks and Monterey Road will hook back up but switch sides. Between Morgan Hill and the San Jose area, there is a 5-mile break that is more rural in character. The California High-Speed Rail Authority is planning a bunch of wildlife crossings here to facilitate fauna migration, since the valley is only a couple of miles wide there between 2 mountain ranges. In the southeast San Jose area, the route is mostly grade separated, but they still have 3 of these gnarly T crossings at large intersections that look like they're asking for trouble. This is another California High-Speed Rail Authority rendering you may have seen previously. At the Caltrain Capital Station, Monterey Road and the UP right-of-way part for good, and 3 miles north of that is the Tamian Station, which is the southern extent of Caltrain electrification. A major development since my video on the subject last year is that Caltrain started running their electric train service. We'll check that out in a few minutes. From Tamiami, the train runs over 2 freeways and winds through a neighborhood with some impacts, and then will arrive at what is likely to be the new San Jose Diridon station. This is the current station, which is the historic Southern Pacific station. The use of this station is growing beyond its current abilities. The interior of the place is cramped, the concourse under the platforms is kind of narrow, and during busy times, deboarding is slow as people tend to stack up in the 2-person wide stairwells. It's a pretty busy station. Several agencies stop here, and BART will be added to that mix in about 10 years. The so-called at-grade upgrade plan for the station was recently adopted. For that, the tracks will stay at present level and excavation will occur around the current station, creating a new sub-level under the entire thing. This will greatly improve passenger flow, capacity, and amenities while retaining some of the historic character. That should be done by the time California High-Speed Rail arrives at some unknown point in the future. Google is also planning a gigantic mixed-use development adjacent to the station, including 7,000 dwellings, so things will get even busier. In terms of configuration for a future California high-speed rail, the Union Pacific right-of-way runs through Diridon on the inside track where this ACE train is arriving. Right now, the right-of-way in this area contains 3 tracks. For final build-out, they want 4. 2 would be for Caltrain and California high-speed rail. The rest of the way into San Francisco, we can sample the future California high-speed rail experience by riding Caltrain. Here's our train now, let's hop on. All aboard! Just out of Diridon to the north is Caltrain's area maintenance facility. Slightly north of that is the Caltrain Santa Clara station. And just past the Santa Clara station, the Union Pacific right-of-way ends and it's Caltrain owned the rest of the way to San Francisco. However, freight will still run on these tracks, as can be seen here in Millbrae. Santa Clara to San Francisco will be mostly unaltered for California high-speed rail. It's a double-tracked alignment with a few 4-tracked 2-mile-long passing sections. California high-speed rail here will essentially function as a Caltrain Super Express. It will either be a non-stop or stop once in Millbrae to connect with San Francisco International. That as opposed to the 9 intermediate stops of a Caltrain Express. There is no special California high-speed rail infrastructure outside of maintenance facilities. Express running will be accomplished by scheduling alone, wedged between trains that depart Diridon anywhere from 3 to 30 minutes apart depending on the time of day. Here's a brief review of Caltrain while riding our local 137. Ticket purchase was easy. I bought my ticket at an empty Tamiami to keep from getting in anyone's way at Diridon in case I got confused. The zoning scheme is easy enough to understand. Diridon is in Zone 4. I wanted to go to San Francisco in Zone 1. I needed a 4-zone day pass. That allowed me to travel anywhere in Zones 1, 2, 3, and 4 as much as I wanted. That wasn't cheap, but I paid for flexibility. Normal day riders would likely use a monthly pass, which works out to about a 60% discount. Certain classes of people also qualify for a 50% discount on top of that. The train sets are new and clean. These are bi-level Stadler Kiss sets. They have low-level and high-level loading doors, but currently only use the low-level ones. I've been on similar carriages with Metrolink and Amtrak. Though these sets are new, it's a pretty typical layout. Seats are comfortable. I didn't have any issues with comfort on the hour and 20-minute trip. There are a variety of seating options, including group table style. This isn't a fast train though. For whatever reason, it's still limited to 79 miles per hour. Ironically, I don't ride trains much, and I've been on faster with Amtrak's Pacific Surfliner. Overall, it's a typical commuter rail service, except it's electrified and it's new, so it hasn't gotten worn down yet. Riding through the area got me to thinking about urbanism and how trains facilitate that, because you can really see on the San Francisco Peninsula how that goes and how it's progressing. Ideally, you're going to have that live, work, play triangle accessible to the line, and this area certainly has work covered. There are also many enjoyable places to go have dinner or stroll like San Mateo or Burlingame, as well as access to activities in San Jose and San Francisco on the ends. It also connects to San Francisco International Airport to facilitate travel out of the area. The thing you're seeing while riding this is that all three components are growing in response, but the live component is in particular. The point of the entire exercise being to accommodate more people in an area for their given activity without putting more cars on an overtaxed road system that really can't be expanded. Caltrain ridership is way down from pre-COVID highs. This is one of the worst affected systems in the country and slowest to rebound, but given the amount of construction happening around these stations, ridership will come back. You can count on it. Most California high-speed rail trains would stop at Millbrae, so let's get off the train there and explore. Millbrae is a modern station shared between Caltrain and BART. The nice thing about the BART connection here is that it goes to San Francisco International, so if you live or work along the line, you can get there by transit directly from the airport. It would also give you a second connection to San Francisco and the East Bay. In terms of station structure, California High-Speed Rail would add on to this with the current outside platform and escalators becoming an island platform, with 2 tracks and a new outside Caltrain platform added further out. A needlessly large entrance plaza would convey foot traffic into the station through a 200-foot elevated walkway from Camino Real. The current station does not have such a structure nor need it. The station design had put California High-Speed Rail at odds with the city of Millbrae in regards to nearby development, but that litigation has recently been settled, leaving the authority free to construct its new addition whenever it manages to get service there. There is mixed-use development around the station, but space is limited, and this is right under San Francisco International's crosswind flight paths, so height is limited as well. The half-hour headways of Caltrain's local trains have proven ample for station exploration, but here's our train to San Francisco. Let's head on over. From Millbrae to San Francisco, the route is mostly grade separated, like at this elevated station in San Bruno. However, there are a few at-grade stragglers also in the San Bruno area in this case. Tracks move through South San Francisco and into Brisbane. Brisbane is the location of a 4-tracked passing section and a future light maintenance facility. The design of this facility was recently reconfigured to settle a lawsuit by the city of Brisbane, which wants to develop the area around the Bayshore Caltrain station. It appears that this huge flyover structure in this California High-Speed Rail Authority rendering is out, and that they'll tie the LMF into the right-of-way on the east side of the station instead. North of that, the route enters a series of 3 spooky tunnels before emerging in San Francisco under Interstate 280. Those two travel together for a mile before they split, and tracks encounter one more at-grade crossing at Mission Bay Drive, but that's okay because it's right before a slow-speed curve into the 4th and King station. With that, we will pull into the route's current northern terminus near Oracle Park and McCovey Cove. 4th and King is a very accessible street-level terminal station. You can seriously just walk into the thing and get on a train. This is probably the easiest to use large train station I've been to. Whether or not it will ever serve as a terminus for California High-Speed Rail is up in the air. The current plan is to extend the line 2.5 miles underground to get it to Salesforce Transit Center in the heart of downtown. That station exists, the connection does not. If you'd like to see more of that station, check out the walking tour video on my secondary channel. If the downtown extension or portal or whatever you want to call it happens before California High-Speed Rail gets to San Francisco, California High-Speed Rail will roll through an underground portion of 4th and King that would run under Townsend Street, seen here. 4th and King has solid transit connections, being next to stops on 2 different light rail lines and a trolley bus line. In addition, a lot of dense development is planned for the area, which already has a solid walkable feel to it. After exploring the 4th and King area, I took Caltrain back to Diridon, this time on an express. Those take an hour. When will California high-speed rail extend to San Francisco? Don't know. How much will it cost? The California High-Speed Rail Authority says $27 billion, but that's not accounting for what could be 2 decades of delays. From Diridon, I drove back to San Francisco, gathering footage for future use since it will be a while, before heading over the Bay Bridge toward my Motel 6 room in lovely Pinole near San Pablo Bay. And a tasty treat of taco-flavored Doritos and In-N-Out burger, but that is another story. 2 more videos coming from my Central Valley trip. Up next is the Southwest High-Speed Rail concept, where we will explore the entire route from Las Vegas to San Francisco and what the whole thing might mean. But that's all for now. Until next time, I'll see you on that big beautiful Caltrain train.